Hi guys, I'm back again. We're going to do another trap build today. Today we're going to do the reverse figure 4 trap. So let me get some sticks and I'll show you how to make this and set it. Okay, so first let's go over each trap component, and let me get a little closer here. So each trap component, there's only 3 components to it. You have a post stick, which is just a straight stick. I do a little nibbling on the end just to kind of clean it up a little bit. And then you have, on the other end, you have a wedge on it. And that's a little too tight. And on the other end, you have the wedge. And then your next stick is your angle stick, which sits on top of your post stick, and on the end that sits on top of the post stick is just the number 7 notch. Sits on there like that, and this is where your pivoting will be. And then on the other end of this is another number 7 notch right there, and then also I knock off this end at an angle, so that way when it's sitting there like this, it's like that. And then the last component to this, other than the weight itself, is your bait stick. And your bait stick is simple. All it is a long stick. You want to try to get that animal underneath the trap as far as you can. So a nice long stick, and it's got a log cabin notch in it, and then I just threw a point on the end of it. You don't even have to do that. You could just split the end of it and wrap it with a little bit of sinew or something. That way you can wedge the bait in between the split. There's all kinds of different things you can do there. You can tie the bait on with a piece of string. So anyways, the bait stick gets set like this up against the pole, your upright pole, and then it gets put into here like this, and I'm trying to do this on camera on top of each other. And then your weight gets put right up here. Whoops, just fell. But anyways, after you get that set, your weight actually gets put right about here. You want your weight to sit on the actual, you want to make sure your post stick sits outside of the trap, and your weight actually sits here. And what that'll do is when the weight comes down, it'll make this stick go like this. It'll kick both these sticks outside of the trap. And the only thing that should be laying under your trap is the bait stick. And a lot of times I've noticed that it kicks this stick most of the way out too, which is great. That's what you want. So let's go ahead and whittle these parts up, and then we'll set it and see how it works. Okay, so I just got an old piece of sapling here. Actually, we're trimming trees in the yard, and this is just a leftover piece of that. And first thing we'll do is the post stick, and the post stick is, if I was to guess, probably 8 inches long or so. None of it really matters to you right now, because when you build this trap, you're going to build it for the animal that you're trying to catch. This one here I've actually got set up for squirrels or chipmunks or anything even smaller actually. This makes a really good micro trap because it's real sensitive, so like a mouse can set it off, which is a plus. But it also would make a good trap for a bigger animal too, because they would set it off just as easily. So the first stick we're going to do is the post stick. And let me go ahead and get a piece of this stick cut off, and we'll go ahead and show you how it's made. I cleaned the bark up on the other post stick just because I was playing around with it. It's not necessary. Sometimes it's better to leave the bark on. It's like camouflage. It looks more natural. By the time I get to use these, they'll be weather aged anyways, so it'll look okay as far as the animals are concerned. So all I did was cut it off, and then I rounded this end off just a little bit. Still flat on there, but I just kind of tapered the edges. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up all these knots on here, and put my wedge at the top. Yeah, that's the thing about just picking regular sticks from the yard. If I was out in the bush and I could pick it whatever I wanted, I would go ahead and try to pick ones without knots in it. But these are already down and they're here, so that's what we're going to use. And you want to try to pick the straightest sticks as possible, but this stick's somewhat straight, but it's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be. Okay, so all we got to do is wedge the end of it, and this stick, and this part of the trap's done. Just clean the top up. Try to get it even. Like I said, you will adjust this trap a little bit as you set it. You do with all of them. You never carve these absolutely perfect every time, and there's always a little bit of adjustment to get them to sit just right. Just is what it is. Okay, so there you go. We got wedge on the top, and I just kind of tapered and rounded the bottom and left the bark on, and the first stick is done. So the next stick we're going to do is the angle stick, which is going to be a pretty heavy stick too, because in all reality the weight's kind of sitting on it as much as it is the upright stick. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing with it. I cut it off. I'll clean up both ends and make them square, because you don't need anything done to the actual ends of them. So let me go ahead and do that off tape so I keep this video a little shorter, and I'll get right back with you. Okay, so both ends are cleaned up. Now on one end all you need is a number 7 notch, which is relatively simple, and a lot of times I'll look at it, it's got a bend in it this way. So the way I'll set that up on the trap is I will set it up so that the number 7 notch is at the bottom of the bend over here. And this number 7 notch, you want to put it about a ½ inch or so from the end. And I just make a straight cut in and then do an angle cut to it. And do that a couple times until you get it as deep as you need it to be. And there's another one. You'll probably play with it a little bit before you get it to where you want it. But try not to go past the halfway mark though in a stick with the 7 notch, because you're taking a chance of having it break right there at the thing. But and there you go, it's in there, it's pretty decent. So we'll do the same thing on the other end. Now this end I hold it a little closer. I keep it about 3/8 away, and both of these notches are on the same side of the stick. You got to remember that same side of the stick. So you're basically putting a notch here, you're coming down to the other end and putting another notch. This notch I hold it about 3/8 away from the edge, and this is all guessing. Nothing's absolutely perfect. And I do the same thing. Put a cut in there like that, and put it in. And you just take your time. The bark's coming off there, which you're going to have that. Actually, the bark's coming off the whole thing. So you just work on it like so. And there you got another 7 notch on there. Now the only other thing you got to do is remember your sticks can be laying at an angle like this, so you want to knock this corner off down here. That way it can sit flat in that log cabin notch. So all I do is I just give it a little cut there, like so. That way it's more of an angle like this. Okay, so your second stick's done. So now we got our first stick done and our second stick done like this. So now all we gotta do is find something long enough to use for a bait stick. So let me go ahead and get another stick and we'll go ahead and get it carved out too. Okay, so now we got our upright stick done and we have our stick with the 2 notches done. I ended up shortening this a little bit because this end started breaking out a little bit, so it is a hair shorter than it was before, but only by about 3/4 of an inch. So the 2 sit just like this. Now all we need is the bait stick itself, and I cut a piece of stick off. It's, if I was to guess, probably 16 inches long, and it's going to sit in here just like this. The back part I will go ahead and just chamfer it off and put it up against the post like so, and then this part is going to end up about like that. I'm going to have to take a little bit more off the bottom of this to square it up a little bit, but it's going to sit in there just like that. And so let me go ahead and take a little bit off the bottom of this, and all I do is I set it about where I want it and I mark it with my thumb, and that's where I put a log cabin notch. So let me go ahead and do that first. Let me square this off a little bit more, and like I said, there will be some adjusting on this as you go, because you want everything to kind of sit together right. So this thing will sit like this. We'll put the thick end against there, and it'll sit something like that right there. Like I said, you might have to do a little more adjusting. So I want to start a log cabin notch right about there. So I got it marked with my thumb. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I just put it mark right there for the beginning of it, and I'll make it a little big, so I'll put a mark right about there for the end of it. And then you just take your time and you dig it in. I put a cut on both ends, and then I dig a little bit out from the middle like so, and then you come over to the other side and you put that cut in there and dig it out. And being that this is such a big knife, sometimes you got to get in here with the tip and work this out, but it is what it is. I know they say you're not supposed to use the tip of your knife for stuff, but when it comes to fine carving, sometimes you got to use the tip of your knife and get in there a little bit easier. I do it because I don't use this just as a butcher knife. I use it as a bushcraft knife too. So it is what it is. So let me go ahead and finish this log cabin notch, and I'll get back with you. Okay, so I'm back. So I got the log cabin notch in there, and all I did was take the end and I just squared it off a little bit. So you can just put this together like so. And I guess the way this would set is you just put this in here like so, and you can set it just like that. And it gets, it's hard to see right there, but at that angle. But it sets just like that. And you got your upright here, you got your bait stick going out there, and then you got your angle stick right there. And all your weight would go right about there. Maybe a little bit higher, maybe right about there. And the end of this, you can either put a point on it, you can split it, you can do all kinds of stuff. I'm probably going to put like a blunt point on it, and then when I get ready to use it, I'll probably end up splitting it too. That way I can either spear something on it. If I'm doing rabbits, I could probably spear a piece of apple on there, and when the rabbit comes up and touches the apple, it just falls apart. So let me go ahead and set this up and we'll show you how it works.
Okay, for sake of demonstration, we're just going to use this board as the weight. So, first thing you want to do is you want to take your upright stick, put it on, stand it up, take your post stick, put it there, and I like to grab it just like this, that way you can pivot it if you have to. And I did, by the way, I did clean off some of the bark on the top of this so that it would sit on this board right. I forgot to show you guys that. But anyways, now you got this stand up here like this, and you can move it just with your thumb up and down. So then you take your bait stick, put it against your upright, slide it up until it gets into that log cabin notch. And you can just adjust it until you get a hair trigger and it's set. So then, there you go, reverse figure 4. So then the little mouse or whatever comes in here, hits the thing, and it goes down, and your 2 main sticks are outside the trap. And then it's under your trap is the bait stick. And that is the reverse figure 4 trap. Okay, so that was the reverse figure 4 trap. I just wanted to go over it with you. Just make sure you have this upright stick outside of the deadfall trap, and your weight sits right here on the inside of that angled piece. And of course, you know, your bait stick goes in there on the bottom. So I just wanted to say thank you, and if you liked the video, like, share, subscribe. But this is the end of the video, so we'll set this thing off, and there you go. Those sticks are back out again, and we're good to go. The reverse figure 4 deadfall trap. Thank you.